Welcome back to Studio Chatter. The housing market has been so crazy for a year or two. Our next guest knows that all too well. Welcome Shelly Jamison, a realtor with the iPro Realty Network, to our table. Welcome.
Welcome. Wow, we have a lot of questions for you with the market like it is.
Good.
So first of all, before we get into questions, tell us a little bit about you.
Let's see. I have been married almost 20 years this year, and I have 3 kids. We live in Spanish Fork. They all go to school in Spanish Fork. Lived in Spanish Fork for 13 years, so It's been a good little community. I've watched it grow from when we moved here to now.
How long have you been an agent?
I've been an agent a little over 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been great.
How many times have you moved?
How many times have I moved? Well, gosh, probably like 10 times. We lived in California before we lived here, and so we moved quite a few times there before we moved to Utah. So.
Well, I remember back in the day when Stacy and I first moved here. I grew up in Provo, actually, and I remember we were looking around for affordable housing, and we found this little place, Salisbury, in Spanish Fork, and I was like, I will never stay there. Like, I'll come down to Spanish Fork for a minute, and then I'll sell that house, make some money, and then move back. And we just fell in love with the community.
You're here now for good.
It's been a couple homes later, but now we're like looking at that place where, okay, we've lived in our home for 15 plus years. Is it time to maybe like change about, how is the market? What is it like now compared to then?
Your first question, it's a great time to move into your forever home.
Okay.
Because interest rates are so low. Like, I was talking to a lender today, the 30-year conventional is around 2.6, 2.7. Wow. So you're saving thousands of dollars off the life of the loan. So it's a really good time. Because
is it a good time to sell and to buy? Like, I always feel like it's a buyer's market or it's a seller's market. Like,
it's definitely a seller's market.
Okay.
It's a wonderful time to sell. You're going to get over asking, you're going to get multiple offers, you're going to be able to choose who you want to live in your home, basically. But buying is another story. It is a harder time to buy right now, but with the right agent, you can do it.
What does the process of buying right now when there's not as many houses on the market, right? Or it can pop up for sale that day, but
and be gone.
It will be gone by the end of the day.
Yes, that is correct.
What's the process?
So the process is, first you need to get pre-approved, always.
Okay.
In this market, any agent who sells a lot of homes will not even take you to look at homes until you're pre-approved.
Okay.
You have to talk to a lender first, see what you qualify for. That's the first step, always. The second step is hiring a great agent who's available to you and is local. That's really important.
Okay.
Sometimes you're like, well, my uncle sells real estate so-and-so way over here. But in this market, you have to be able to see the house that day. Like you said, it will be off the market that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know we had some random people like calling us saying, are you interested in selling your home? And I was like, where'd you get my number? Like, this is so weird. And then I'm like, maybe this is a sign? I don't know. But I guess in the market is thus that people are out looking for homes.
And that's normal. Like, if I have a client that wants to live in a certain area, I have no problem knocking on people's doors saying, I have somebody who wants to live in your area. Are you willing to sell your home?
I know another realtor that's out looking for someone that's coming from out of state, and he says, yeah, I'm over in Salem just knocking some doors.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, so it's a thing.
Yes.
I thought it was like a weird sales
thing.
call. But
It might be a weird sales call,
Okay.
too, but it's a thing. Yes, people are desperate to live in certain areas, and this is what you have to do sometimes. You have to hire the right person that will do those things for you.
right. Because maybe someone that's on the fence is then contacted and then they're like,
yeah.
okay.
So what has your life been like lately? What is it about COVID-19 especially that has really prompted the market to just take off?
Yeah, well, the first thing is that Utah's economy is #1 in the nation. We have a really strong economy. I think they've done a good job. When we did close down during COVID, we still tried to do what we could. And then when we opened up, we were smart about it and kept the economy strong. And we've been pretty strong for a couple years now. So that has definitely driven people to move here. And then with COVID, the interest rates went way down and they're still hovering really low. And so people just, this is the time to buy. You're really going to save. When I talked to the lender, he said it's around $75,000 to $100,000 you're going to save, more purchasing power because of the interest rates. You're going to pay less on interest and more towards principal. So it really is a good time, and everyone notices that. And then it kind of fuels itself. When people hear people buying, they get the idea to buy, and it just, it's almost like a frenzy. Yeah.
So my guess would be that if you are wanting to build, the builders are a little further out than normal. To just go get a lot today and start within a month and be done in 5 months?
That doesn't happen anymore.
Okay.
So to build it with a builder, you're at least 8 to 9 months before you can start to finish. And there's bidding wars on lots right now. So it's The days of where you went to go pick out, like, this is the lot I want and this is the house I want, that doesn't happen.
Oh my gosh.
You have to be on a wait list, and then, yeah, it's wild.
Okay.
So you really, that's another thing, is a real estate agent can help you building a home. And the commission is paid for by the builder. So you don't have to pay anything. When you're a buyer in Utah, very rarely do you ever have to pay for the agent. So why not have someone in your corner?
Yeah.
So we know what it's like to build new construction. We know what timelines are. We know what should be done and what shouldn't be done, and we're just watching out for your best interest.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always heard that phrase, like, leave it to the professionals. And sometimes it really does pay to pay, wherever that is.
Yes.
But in this way, yes, you know what to do and
It can
where
be
to go.
very expensive if you make a mistake.
Yes.
And you can get taken advantage of. There are people out there that will take advantage of people who don't know what they're
bet.
doing and think they can sell their home by themselves. And can it be done? Absolutely.
But drawing
But
out the contracts and
The
all
contracts,
those particulars.
and really, if someone is in it to take advantage of you, they can, and you won't know it. And you'll be in a court, and it can just be a huge mess. So,
Shelly, I want to ask you about
Yeah.
affordable housing. What
Yeah.
does affordable housing look like right now? Like, what does the property look like? And what is that price point right now in the Spanish Fork area?
affordable housing is, I guess, that could be up to decide what you think affordable housing is.
True.
Right? So the average home right now in Spanish Fork in the last 30 days, I looked today, the average price is $370.
And what size of a home is that?
That's average. So that's not the most expensive and that's not the cheapest.
$370?
Yeah, $370. And it sells in 8 days. That's the average. Now, I would say most homes are not 8 days. But that also includes like homes that are really expensive, which tend to sit longer because there's not everyone that can afford them. So $370, yeah. So I would say if you can find a townhome under $250, $275,
You're lucky.
that's
You're
your starter
lucky.
home. And it will
And
probably
it's a
need some work.
townhome now.
It's a townhome.
Yeah, so these newlyweds, in their 20s, buying their first place, most likely it's going to be a townhome.
Yes,
they're
but
gonna
there
have to
are
spend a lot
programs
more.
out there, and I want people to know about it because there is something called a USDA rural loan, and that is in rural areas, which is always considered in the census when it's determined what a rural area is. So because this is a census year, the boundaries will be realigned, I would say, the beginning of 2021. So you have just a little bit of time. If you are south of Spanish Fork or Eagle Mountain or over that way to Willa, it's considered a rural loan that you have to see if you qualify. Not everyone qualifies with their finances, but you can go out there and zero down payment.
So for example, if,
Like Santa
if someone
Quinn or
in their
something?
20s
Yes.
or even Payson, they can get those loans?
Yes.
So it's still the good interest rate, but zero down.
Zero down. You do have to pay closing costs, but if
Okay.
you can get in with some builders, if they still have something available, if you use their preferred lender, they'll usually give you like, say, $3,000 towards closing costs. So you can literally, I have clients getting in homes in Santa Quinn, brand new homes. They get to pick out everything, and they're paying like $3,500. That's it to get into their home. So you can, and I know people are like, but I don't want to live in Santa Quinn, but that's okay. You live there for a few years, you build equity, you sell, and then you use that money to get to where you want. So that's the market
Or
we're
like
in.
Angie, you probably built in Spanish
Or you
Fork,
fall
right?
in love with Santa
Because
Quinn and live there.
25 years ago,
Right.
it was a lot less expensive.
Right.
So you
And now
build
it's
down
my
here
home.
and you love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt anyone will go to Santa Quinn and love it like they do Spanish Fork, of course.
Never.
But
Well, it's always an
But it
investment,
is.
right?
It's I mean, you have to look
It's
at
a
it as a stepping
stepping
stone. And a lot of people are like, but I don't want to do that. And I'm like, this
It's
is
part
just
of
the
it.
But
market
this was
in
my
Utah.
stepping stone. I could have gone somewhere else, but I fell in love with this. But it was.
Yeah.
It gave us a good down payment for the next
Yeah.
place.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Is there a race per se to get it done because it's an election year? Are people trying to get it done?
You know, no, I don't think so. I mean, it's been such a weird year anyway. That,
Right.
like,
there's no rhyme or reason.
I mean, you know, it's 2020. If anything goes,
Anything
right?
goes.
Yeah. So it is a really good time to buy a home.
What is your favorite part about being a realtor?
I get to set my own hours, which can be a downside too.
I was going to say, I think your profession would be one of the most
because
difficult.
you're just on all the time.
I'm on all the time. I try
Yeah.
to be there for my clients all the time, which I know there needs to be boundaries, and there is boundaries. I mean, my
Right.
phone shuts off, and if you call me or text me, I'm not going to get it till I wake up or whatever. But
Yeah.
I like to overly communicate with my clients. When you're doing the biggest purchase of your life, I should be available to you
Yeah.
most
And
of
an
the time.
emotional purchase for women.
Yes.
It's a
Yeah.
very emotional
It is.
purchase or sell, right?
Right. We're therapists and we're real
Yes,
estate
you
agents
are.
and everything else. Yes.
And Shelly, I love how engaged you are, like on your Facebook, where a lot of people
Yeah.
can follow you. In our local community, you are constantly updating residents of like what's happening. So people that are following you, they can kind of find out what's happening in Spanish Fork, what's the city doing,
Yes.
and what's happening in this
Yes.
community.
I mean, I want to be the expert in Spanish Fork. I want people to come to me if they want to know what's going on. I know, because it's really important when you build a house and it's across the street from a field, what's going in there.
Right.
Because that might determine your home value, and I'm going to know what's going in
Absolutely.
there. That's my job. That's part of my job, I feel like. There are agents that maybe don't feel like that's their job, but I feel like that is my job, to
Right.
know what's coming and to know what's going on in Spanish Fork.
And most likely, if you're moving in by a field, the field's not going to be there
No, it's
too long.
It's not going to be there. If there
But
is
it
a
could be
field,
the
let me know, because I
All
know
Abilities
somebody
Park,
wants to
which
buy
would
it.
be fabulous, and then you would know.
This is true.
Oh, Shelly, you're awesome.
Yeah.
If
Thank
somebody
you.
is interested in buying or selling, how can they get a hold of you?
They can give me a call.
Okay.
My number is 801-362-6508, or they can follow me, Shelly Jamison Realtor, on Facebook or Instagram.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thanks for
Thanks
joining
so
us.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay with us for more studio chatter.